Most companies don't fail because of bad product. They fail because of bad leadership. And I have seen it firsthand from companies of all stages in their boardrooms, working with executives from Fortune 500 companies, and also in my own life. But today I'm going to give you 10 rules that separate the CEOs who build empires from the ones who burn out everything. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how to build like a CEO and the 10 rules to build an A-player team. Remember, leadership will always come from the top. My name is Lillian Victoria Ng. I am a TEDx speaker. I'm the author of Own Your Path, and I help CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs build high-performing teams by straightening their leadership and identity. I'm also a board member at TCVN and one of your hosts for my first overnight success. So let's get this started. So rule one, we're going to talk about vision casting. Okay. So you must cast your vision to your whole company. People don't follow companies. They follow leaders who make them believe. As a leader yourself, you must articulate what that vision is, because I'll tell you, I've worked with a lot of leaders. They don't know. They're so busy just keeping the company alive, but we want to know why this is important to you, what your vision is, the why behind it, and what problems that you are solving. Because once your team, whoever you bring in as a partner, when they can see it, now they're in alignment with you. I'm talking about investors. I'm talking about the people that's going to help you build the company. I'm talking about even your customers. Why are they purchasing from you? What problem are you solving? Right? So the clear vision is going to be key. Have a direction of where you're going, because you will be able to lead with that. The more you can be clear what your goal and your vision is, and you know exactly where your mission is, the people will be on board with you. If you don't know, people don't know. Also, as a founder yourself, when you start to lead, it's something that you have to believe, because people are going to feel that. This is something that you're going to be living and breathing. It's not just on a slide deck. It's something that you are going to bring with you every single day and breathe it. Because when your people around you, they believe in your vision and they're in alignment with your vision, they are going to be on the same wavelength as you, right? There are lazy people and there are go-getters. So when you know why you're doing this, what problem solving, why is it so important to you, and you work and you do whatever it takes, you do the pivots, you do the falls, and you are bringing yourself to the finish line, the people around you, they will see it, and the ones that stay, they will cross that finish line with you. And here's the thing, when you have a very clear vision, you will do it when no one is watching, because in the entrepreneur process, there is a lot of twists and turns. There are countless entrepreneurs, they don't make it. Why? Because they don't know why. They don't know what's important to them. And when you can find that in you, that's when the persistence come in. That's when the resilience come in. You know, I always like to say the best entrepreneurs, they have their back against the wall because they're going all in for it. Now that may look very different for you, but when you are doing that and you're willing to do the work when no one is watching, and making those decisions every single day, your team will know it. They will see it, they will respect it, and they will put in the effort. And they don't, they're probably not going to be your people. But it starts with you and your clear vision. That's how we lead. Okay. A great example is Steve Jobs. Jobs didn't just pitch computers. He sold a movement. He was talking about think different was a belief system and not a tagline. People join Apple because they want to be a part of something that challenges the status quo. So ask yourself, can your team describe your vision in one sentence and feel something when they actually say it? That's really important. So one note for you, write down the company's vision on a napkin right now, whatever you have. You know, if you can't write it in 2 sentences, it is not clear enough. Okay? Rule number 2, you must be an A player first. People don't follow companies. They follow leaders who make them believe. You cannot attract what you haven't become. Here's the deal. A players are self-selecting. They gravitate towards decisive visionary, confident leaders. So your hiring standard is a direct mirror of your own standard. How do you lead yourself? How you make your decisions, the risk that you take, your confidence is going to be the magnet of bringing the right people in. You know, when A players come in to your company, and when I talk about A players, I'm talking about your investors, I'm talking about the people that works for you, I'm talking about any kind of partnership that comes into your ecosystem. These are going to be your A players. It's going to take time for you to find them, but once you find them, it becomes self-policing. But here's the deal. They only want to work with A players. They're not going to have any tolerance for B or C players. And it starts with you to be able to lead them. So a great example is Elon Musk, his infamous interview question. Tell me about the most difficult problem that you solved and exactly how you solved it. He could immediately tell who actually did the work versus who watched from the sidelines. Why? You know why? Because your ability to spot an A player starts with you being one yourself. Elon Musk, when he's attracting people, he is attracting people that understands how he thinks, are thinking the same thing on a high level in the same kind of complexity, and that's willing to take risk and move fast, right? But that's him. Now I want to take the focus on you. So when you look at yourself, this is a mirror for yourself. Look at the standard of your company. Project your goals for your revenue, the amount of people that you're serving. And based on that, think about the person that is leading it. And then you become that person. Okay? So before you hire, you got to audit yourself. Are you showing up as a leader that this company needs today, right now, with what you got, even when it's not profitable? Because you start now with everything that you got. Rule number 3, get your family on board. Your spouse is in a marriage with you and your company. Make sure that they choose both. This is really, really important. And I'm speaking for personal experience. I am taking this another personal layer because when you're building a company, your whole life is in it. And you got to get your other partners involved in this marriage. And this, I'm talking about your marriage, your spouse, because this is when a company becomes a third party in your marriage. And the most important business decisions often happen on long walks, on pillow talks, and the late night conversations. And if they have your back, you feel very supportive. You feel like you're going to go a long way because they know you the best. They're going to give you the best advice. But if you're with someone that doesn't get it, you can't communicate at home. When you come home, you don't have a solid foundation. That's when everything will fall through the crack. Myself, I had went through a divorce. When I was building my first startup, my marriage was in shambles. I would go to work, I would manage people, but I wouldn't feel whole because when I come home, I feel like I was walking on ticking time bombs. I didn't have a safe place. I did not have anyone to talk to. So eventually everything had to blow up. And when someone goes through a divorce, and I do want to talk about it because, a lot of people starting their mid 30s to 40s, a lot of people experience divorce. I don't wish that upon you, but that is a fact. And when the people that are going through that, this is where I want you to be able to really take some time for yourself and make sure yourself is healed and you have a strong foundation to start a business, because there is the emotional side of us. We are humans at the end of the world, and you're going to be that human being that is building a business and a vision of yourself. Let me give you another example. The fashion brand Victoria Beckham. There's 2 layers on this. Victoria Beckham, she always openly talked about how David supported her journey since the beginning. And at one point, she almost lost her company. So she brought in her partner, which is David Balhassan, who is the founder of NEO Investment Partners and is a key partner to help save Victoria Beckham's fashion label from the financial ruins by investing $30 million in euro in 2017. And here's the deal. He was going to say no to her by reading her financials. He's like, nope, this is a no-go. He was going to turn it down. And then it was his wife who convinced him to help Victoria Beckham because she is a fan of her clothes and she knew there were potential. It turned out to be one of the best decisions. So your family, your spouse, they're your covenant. Make sure they're on board with you. Rule number 4, know what your team actually wants. When people feel seen, that's when they perform. So one of the things that I have my clients do, and they're in leadership roles, they're managing teams, they come to me and they're like, okay, why is this person not performing? I can't get them to work. I can't get them to motivate. The first thing I always say is, what do they want in their life? Get to know them. What is their personal goals they want? And what is their professional goals? Because when you get to know them, you know what? They feel heard. They want to be heard because they're human beings as well, right? You want to get them on board. And once you can understand their personal goal, make sure their professional goal is in alignment with where you are heading, where the company is heading, where the company vision is heading, because then this is when you can really activate them and get them motivated. And when you know their personal goal, in many ways, you are also helping them achieve their personal goal. So that's one thing. You want to bring alignment and use your judgment, because to be honest, not everyone is going to be honest in interviews. A lot of people lie, and they lie very often, right? So when you are working with someone and someone is in your team, use that judgment of something is off. something is not aligned. The performance is not working, right? But once you know it in your soul, then you know what to do next. I say this is really important because if they're not in alignment with your vision, that could be a bad apple. However, when you meet someone that you know is going to be able to grow with you, run with you, and grow this higher, and then you know what to do next as well. There's definitely a difference when you're working with people that are employees and versus people that are on commission base, more entrepreneur, like the real estate or the finance world. Those people tend to be more self-motivated. But here's the deal. Invest your energy where the alignment is real and listen to what your gut tells you. So let me give you an example. One of my current companies, they're a wealth management company. They've been around for 4 years. Their revenue right now is doing 800 million. They're planning to double that. They have offices in 5 cities nationwide. At the very beginning, it's really about getting the people together, getting them to perform, making sure the company is alive, right? When I was bought in, they were ready for the next level. What is the culture? What is the vision? And once the CEO was able to align what her vision is for the company, it set a whole new standard for all the teams. So all the team leaders, the high performing teams, which I coach each and one of them, the ones that are on the top, they start to change. They start to align their vision and their personal goal with the company. And when they start to change, they start to set new standards. They're saying we want to be a high performing team to we are right now at this moment. And that's when change happens, right? So my moral of the story, know your vision, know your people, know your personal goal, and make sure that you create a movement. When you have a vision, you're creating a movement with people because ultimately people are human beings. So one thing you could do today, if you have a team, is schedule a 20-minute quarterly conversation with each of your team member. Start with, hey, where do you want to be in 3 years? What's your personal and professional goal? It's not a performance view. It's a human conversation. Rule number 5, trust your intuition. Data tells you what happened. Intuition tells you what's possible. As a trailblazer, you're leading a path that hasn't been walked. Past logic won't always apply. Especially right now, we're in the stage of innovation. We're in the stage of projecting what is happening next. AI is in our lives right now, and there's a huge change. So when you are vision casting, you know the problems that you're solving, you got to also trust your intuition, which is that voice inside of you. There is a lot of science around that. You could do some research, but for this episode, I'm going to say, listen to your heart. I'm not going to be the only person that tells you that. Your intuition is also a sum of your unique lived experience. It's not magic, but it's a pattern recognition at a deeper level that only you can hear. So when you are confident in what you do, you will listen to it. Even though decisions might be hard, maybe a lot of people won't agree with you, but you know it from your gut because that's what leaders do. You are leading and you got to lead yourself first before you could lead others. When you know your team member isn't a good fit, they're not in alignment and something is off, so you can't work with them. Releasing them is a gift. I know it's hard because there's emotions at play. We don't want to be the bad guy, but when you release them, it allows them to find something that they want and it allows you to continue to do your work so people could come in, right? These are tough decisions, but these are decisions as a leader you must make, okay? And when you do make that decision, back it up with performance data. So the decisions are documented and not just a gut feeling that no one could track. So the framework here is intuition plus data equals decisive leadership. And you need both. Pure intuition without evidence is recklessness. Pure data without vision is react. The best CEOs that I work with, they use your gut to point in the right direction and make those tough decisions. And their data confirms it and it confirms the pace. So one great example is Oprah. Oprah has spoken extensively about following her gut over the conventional business and media advice from launching OWN to end the Oprah show. And at its peak, she said, I trusted that still little voice and intuition my entire life. And every major pivot was a data to informed by intuitive love. And every meeting that she runs, she says, what is the intention for this meeting? So she always sets the intention. Just a quick message from our sponsor. Without them, this podcast will not exist.
I'd like to introduce our sponsors because without them, this podcast would not exist. First is CloneForce. CloneForce builds digital teammates that help people get everyday work done 50 times faster and around the clock. It's like having a digital teammate. So you just need to make one AI agent to help run the entire company. Next is Reed Smith, who's a a globally recognized law firm helping founders navigate every stage of growth, from formation to fundraising, to scale and to exit. Finally, we have Sunstone. They support entrepreneurship, education, and inclusive innovation by partnering with universities, nonprofits, accelerators, and public and private initiatives to help opportunities for the next generation of founders. Together, these partners represent the future of entrepreneurship, combining technology, legal expertise, and community-driven opportunity to help founders build, scale, and succeed. Thank you to our sponsors.
Rule 6, lead with charisma. Charisma is an intersection of compassion and competence, not one over another. When you have too much compassion, you become a friend, not a leader. And this is when you need to get them done. And will they listen? That's another question, right? You don't want them to look at you as a friend, but you want to give them enough compassion to get them moving. Competence is when people admire you, but they don't feel connected enough to follow. And sometimes, many times, when someone is way too smart, even though they're smart, if they don't like you and they don't trust you, they're not going to follow you. The sweet spot is being someone people both respect and want to run through walls for, okay? And add one more thing is your attitude. What your attitude is, and you're going to attract the same kind of people with your attitude. I like to work with people with a winning attitude. When a hardship comes, when problem comes, let's face it with what are we going to do? How do we solve the problem? When you're a charismatic leader, people are comfortable to talk to you with ideas and they respect you, because at the end of the day, you want them to feel heard, but you also want to get things done. One of my past clients, I'm not going to mention the name, it was an entertainment company. The first thing I walked in, this guy who is running his team was telling me everyone's wrong and all the experience and how they quit on you and how they take your money and they go things on. And I was listening to him. I'm like, you're the problem, not them. Right? Leadership always comes from the top. Let me give you a great example. Tim Cook. Tim Cook was criticized after Jobs because he was being too empathetic and not a visionary enough. But the thing is, he had proved the critics wrong, because under his compassionate, steady leadership, Apple became the first company to reach its $3 trillion evaluation. He didn't try to be Steve Jobs. He was Tim Cook's fully. So here's what you could do this week. Ask your team members this week, do they feel heard by you? Do they feel accountable to you? If the answer to either is a no, that's your work to fix. Rule number 7, protect your why like your life depends on it. Your why is a deep fuel that keeps the engine running when the road runs out. As a founder, you are consistently selling to your team, your investors, your clients, and also to yourself, because in this process, you're going to get a lot of rejections. People are not going to give you the feedback that you want, right? And many times they'll give you their opinion, but your why is going to keep you focused on why you are building this company. And even in those days where maybe you only have 2-month runway, where you're almost out of cash, or you're building in your garage, you're giving it everything, and then that's not getting to where you want it to be, your why, it's going to hold you there, because there is a persistence test. There's a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talks about persistent to success is like iron is to steel. But the thing is, most people, they don't persist. Why? Because they don't even know what they want. But when you are able to persist, you see the vision. And persistence and faith, they go hand in hand. Faith comes in when you see this vision and you know this is exactly what you are meant to do. And that's what will drive you as a human being. Right now, I'm talking about the leadership. Right now, I am talking about the mindset. And when you go out there, that's when you build the company. You start to go and take the rejections. You sort of figure out solutions. You figure out the problems. You make the pivots as needed. But you're very clear with what you want in your life. And here's the thing. When you work with your team, they believe in you. The team that believes in your vision will go all in with you, but only if they could feel that you have wavered. So that is really key. Always hold on to your why. So let me give you another example. Sarah Blakely, she held on to her secret for, I think, 2 years until she got her manufacturing partner, because she was protecting her idea. She was protecting her why. And everyone has a different coping mechanism. But my whole point is, when your why is there and you know it, that's where you're going to defeat all of those rejections that's coming your way, all of the mistakes that you are going to fall, right? The greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest founders that I know, they made more mistakes than win. Mark Cuban, he talked about this. He said, once he figured out, it just takes that one yes, that one win. That's all that matters. So everything in the process, we got to fail our way forward. Okay, your identity is your brand. Culture isn't what you post on the wall, but it's what you tolerate and what you celebrate. So when we talk about your identity sets a tone for every hire, every decision, and every customer interaction. Your identity is who you are. So when you focus on yourself, you got to ask yourself, what are my non-negotiables? What are the values that I have? I always like to use this example, Chanel. I like going to Chanel, right? And then you have Target. I could go to Chanel and I know I'm going in to pay for a high value good. The minute I walk in, I have white glove services. I would wait in line to get in. And many times the purse that I want is not available, but yet I buy because that is high value product. That is your brand. Your identity becomes your brand. Okay. Your identity and how you see things will set the culture. You as a founder or a founder CEO, right? You are the brand of the company and the company will take its own later. Okay. Target. I go into Target. It's cheap. Everything is on sale. I'll probably buy something, put it at home, never use it. Again, different values. There's no right or wrong, but it all comes down to you. What is the vision that you have? This is really important. One thing you also want to know is you got to know your values and your absolute non-negotiables at the very beginning, because once your company starts to scale, it's going to be harder to pivot. But once you know it at the very beginning, every single person that is coming in to work for you, they are building on that. I'm not going to be the only person that says your culture is what's going to build people, and companies are built by people. Most importantly, remember your brand and your identity is not a logo and it's not a tagline. It is something that you hold to yourself even when no one is watching, because this is who you are. We've seen stories like Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. When you try to put up a facade, what does it do? It crumbles. Right here, I'm guiding you to build a company with very strong foundations. Let me give you another good example. We're going to talk about Netflix. Reed Hastings, he built Netflix, legendary culture from his own identity as a leader. Radical transparency, zero tolerance, and mediocrity, freedom paired with responsibility. The culture deck became so famous, it was called the most important document ever to come out of Silicon Valley. So it didn't start with the HR policy. It started off with who Reed Hastings was. If you look at the founders that have built big companies, every single one of them is built on who they are as a person. So here's an exercise for you. Write down 5 core values today that's important to you. Then ask yourself, check your company's day-to-day behavior. And listen, if it's just you and your partner, or maybe it's just you, that's fine too. Just check with this because you're starting something. How do people speak with each other? What does get rewarded? What gets tolerated? And actually reflect on those values. The gap between what you say your values are and how you actually operate is where the culture breaks down. Rule 9, build a bulletproof mindset for early stage. If you don't believe in yourself, no investor, no team, nor market will either. As a founder, you're going to accept an idea, you're going to start to create it, you're going to take it to market, you're going to create your MVP, you're going to have a proof of concept, and then you're going to scale, and then you're going to raise capital, and then you're going to manage more people and more expectation, all the way to the exit. So in this journey, you will grow and you will change exponentially. So I always encourage people, you want to hang out with the same kind of people. If you're a CEO, hang out with other CEOs, hang out with ex-CEOs. If you're a founder, if you're a new founder, be in the founders community. And this is what TCV and his, we are putting together a community so you could come and pitch, you could come and network and come meet investors. And the key is you want to be hanging out with people that is going somewhere or they're at where you're at. And that's where you can grow. You could talk about what questions that you have, what mistakes that you made. And the key is you don't want to feel judged. But this is also the reason why a lot of people, they invest in leadership coaches, because you want to be challenged. It's the mindset. It is the belief system in you that you'll be able to push forward. And then you activate your creativity, because creativity, it is the key for problem solving. You're coming out with a solution to solve this problem. You use your creative energy. And the key here is a mindset that you will get through these different stages is going to grow you into a very different person. So let me give you another example. Howard Schultz from Starbucks. Schultz was rejected by 217 investors before getting Starbucks funded. 217 no's. A bulletproof mindset isn't just an absence of doubt. It's a decision to move forward in spite of it. Surround yourself with fellow founders and CEOs who understand the weight of the journey. Invest in a coach. Schultz had mentors. Last but not least, we have rule 10. Be a mentor yourself, not a crutch. Your job is not to do it for them. It's to make them believe they can do it themselves. Remember, you only have 24 hours in a day. So you got to be strategic on how you are spending them. Earlier I talked about trust your intuition. So you know who to invest in. We're going to bring that back over here. So be strategic about who you pour yourself into. How do you invest in your time? Choose your top 1 to 5 people that are coachable, that are proactive, that their vision is aligned, that are also self-led, and they're actively making your vision their own. So when you coach your team, you're actually also coaching yourself. You're also getting yourself hyped up too. That feeling is pretty great. Your vision also gets sharper. Your belief gets stronger. And you want to make sure you're making and leading not from a place of ego. Ego is a silent company killer. I'm going to give you one more example. Bill Campbell, he's known as the Silicon Valley coach. Campbell mentored people like Steve Jobs, Eric Schmidt, Jeff Bezos, and Sheryl Sandberg. He never took credit. He never took equity. He just made them better. He understood that his job was to instill belief and then get out of the way. That's the most powerful thing any mentor can do. Here's a rapid recap. Rule number 1, cast a vision. Rule number 2, be an A player first. Number 3, get your family on board. Number 4, know your team, what they actually want. Rule number 5, trust your intuition. Rule number 6, lead with charisma. Rule number 7, protect your why. Rule number 8, your identity is your brand. Rule number 9, build a bulletproof mindset. Rule number 10, be a mentor, not a crutch. Leadership isn't a title that you earn when a company grows. It's a standard you hold to yourself to every day, even when no one is watching. Build yourself first, and then the team will follow. Remember, change is inevitable, but your leadership development, your personal development is a choice. You are exactly where you need to be right now, but you're not meant to stay. So if you need help to believe in yourself, borrow my belief in you. Okay, you're watching and listening to this episode for a good reason. This podcast is presented by TCVN. We are here to support and mentor founders and help them get funded. If you found value in this podcast, please go ahead and share it with a friend, a founder, a CEO who needs to hear this today. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We also host live events where you can join our community, network, pitch to investors, and grow with us. If you'd like to connect with me, my information is below in the show notes, and stay connected with TCVN. I will see you in the next episode. Okay, that's a wrap. How are you on time? All right, went over 1 minute.